In this video, we will be converting U.S. measurements to metric and metric back to U.S. In our last video, we focused on length, so we were using these conversions. This video, we're going to add to that. We're going to include weight and volume. For weight, right here is our bridge. So we talked about last time in length, inches to centimeters and centimeters to inches was the bridge. For weight, it's going to be grams and pounds. So if we need to get from US to metric or from metric to US, we're going to do it via this bridge right here. For volume or capacity, what we're going to be looking at is liters and quarts for our bridge. So if we're in quarts, we can get over to the metric system. And if we're in liters, we could get back over here to the US system. So that's going to be our bridge. Let's look at some problems. Example 1 says, what number of tons is equivalent to 5 kilograms? Let's first get our question set up. How many tons, so there's my question, is the same or equivalent to 5 kilograms? So we're going to multiply again by those fancy ones. We're currently in kilograms, and we want to get to tons. That means we are in the metric system, and we're trying to move out of the metric system into the US system. The bridge for that is grams to pounds or pounds to grams, which means we got to get to grams. I am currently in kilograms, and from kilograms, we can go to grams. For every 1 kilogram, we have 1,000 grams. And now I'm in grams, which is great news because that's the bridge. On our conversion sheet, it says 454 grams is about 1 pound. LB is the abbreviation for pound. Once we're in pounds, that means we are in the US system. So let's try and get to tons. I'm in pounds and I want out of pounds. From pounds, I can go straight to tons because we know that there are 2,000 pounds for every 1 ton. Let's check and make sure we did what we needed to. Kilogram on top and on bottom cancels. Grams on top and on bottom cancels. Pounds on top and pounds on bottom cancels. We're left in tons, which is what we wanted. Time to grab a calculator. We're going to multiply along the top, so 5 times 1,000, timesing by ones that don't matter. And then we're going to get that answer and divide it by 454 and divide it by 2,000. Again, dividing by ones, not going to change it. And I've got 0.0055 and a whole bunch of stuff. But this says round to the nearest thousandth. So I need to talk about that guy. That is the thousandths spot. And after him is a 5, which means he's going up. So 0.006, and we are now in tons. Let's take a look at example 2. How many fluid ounces are in 2 gallons? Now think about where we're at here. We're in gallons, which is in the US system, and we're trying to get to fluid ounces, also in the US system. So we're not going over to metric. We're going to stay in the US system, which means we don't need to worry about the bridge. We're not using the bridge to get there. We're going to stay within the US system. And the question is, how many fluid ounces, that's the abbreviation for fluid ounces, equals 2 gallons? So I'm in gallons and I want to get out. From gallons, we could go to quarts. We know that for every 1 gallon, there are 4 quarts, which is great, but not fluid ounces. So we got to keep going. We got to get out of quarts now. If we're in quarts, we could go to gallons. That's backwards. We don't want to do that. Or pints. Pints is going to get us closer, so we're going to use that. For every 1 quart, there are 2 pints. Still not there. So we got to get out of pints. From pints, we could go to cups. That would get us closer. For every 1 pint, it's equivalent to 2 cups. And from cups, we can now get to fluid ounces, which is what we wanted. For every 1 cup, there is 8 fluid ounces. Time to multiply and divide. We're going to multiply all these on the top and divide by the things on the bottom. Now, if you'll notice, the things on the bottom this time are all ones. And dividing by 1 isn't going to change anything. So really, we just need to multiply across the top. So if you multiply all those things up top, you should be getting 256 fluid ounces. Let's try one more. This one says, how many milliliters is equal to 1/4 of a cup? I think because we're going to be using our calculator and typing this in a bit, I think putting it in as a decimal may help us. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this as how many milliliters equals, and instead of 1/4, I'm going to do the decimal for that. If you're not sure what the decimal is, you can grab a calculator and do 1 divided by 4. That's the same thing. Division and fractions are the same. So let's think about this. We're in cups, and we want to get to milliliters. Cups is in the US system. Milliliters is in the metric system. So we're going to need our bridge. To get from cups to milliliters, the bridge is liters to quarts, or quarts to liters. We're in cups, so we've got to get to the US part of that bridge, which is going to be quarts. Currently, we're in cups, and we're wanting to get to quarts. Unfortunately, from cup, I can't get straight to quarts with my list that I got. But from cups, I could go to tablespoons, fluid ounces, I could go to pints. But remember, the goal is to get to quarts. And the way to get to quarts is through pints. So from cups, we're going to pints. For every 2 cups, I get 1 pint. Now that I'm in pints, we can get out of there and go from pints to quarts. For every 1 quart, it is 2 pints. Now I'm in quarts, which is where I needed to get to in order to cross the bridge over to the metric system. I can go from quarts out to liters, which puts me in the metric system. 1 liter is about 1.06 quarts. Great news, we're in the metric system now. But I'm still not where I want to be because I want to end up in milliliters. I am, however, in home base for the metric system, which is liters. And from liters, we can go anywhere in the metric system that we'd like. And I want to go to milliliters. For every 1 liter, there is 1,000 milliliters. Let's check our units and make sure they canceled as we had hoped. Cups on top and bottom. Pints, top and bottom. Quarts, top and bottom. Liters, top and bottom. And I am in milliliters, which is what we wanted. Time to grab a calculator. We're going to do 0.25 times 1,000, because remember, the ones don't matter so much. Get that answer, and then we're going to divide by 2, divide by 2, and divide by 1.06. On my calculator, I'm getting 58 0.9622 and a whole bunch of stuff after it. We're rounding to the nearest thousandth, which is this place value. After that 2 is another 2, which means my 2's staying put. It's not rounding up. So 58.962 milliliters. 1/4 of a cup, or 0.25 cups, is about 59 milliliters.